to win a game. It's like, so winning a game of rugby, it's like leading a company or but a group of people. And I think maybe the biggest lesson is like, you should always be in front of your people, okay, so you can actually pull them towards a vision or towards a goal, but make sure the distance is always respectable, and sometimes you stretch the elastic and sometimes you come back,
This is the Snarketing Podcast, for marketers, by marketers, talking to marketers with just a touch of snark. Now, here are your hosts, Valerie Vespa and Matt Wurst.
Hi. Wow, that was you opening up an episode for maybe the first time ever. Valerie Vespa.
Yes, and Matthew Wurst.
Yes, and we've now introduced each other. We're starting off
Mashup.
Doing some, this is very unique. We flushed the format.
It's good
And
to
what I
change.
love about this coming episode is we're actually going to talk to someone that neither of us has ever met before, which is new-ish. We've done this before, but I like that we're pushing ourselves a little bit, right?
I know.
We need to do more of this in life. People need to get outside their comfort zone. It makes us better. It makes us stronger.
I think so too. And I think curiosity is a word I've been using a lot. It's
Oh, really? Why? Tell me why. I'm curious.
Well, it's funny. There's a lot of changes happening at my organization, and I think that fundamentally, if we can get people to be way more curious about the products we offer, the way that things work, processes to make things better, asking clients more questions, listening and being curious, I think will all do us a lot. It'll do us a lot of good. I think it'll help us grow our business, and I think that's fundamentally what businesses need.
For me, I think there's a lot of that balance shifted in marketing. It was a lot of push and talking to people.
Yes.
What you're defining to me is the very backbone of community, which is what my business is based about, but not to make it about that. What I mean by this is it has to be multi-directional. And marketers, a lot of industries, depending on what you're in, has become so who's my audience? And it's not about audience. It's about dialogue, not monologue. So I'm glad you finally decided to listen, Valerie. Congratulations. 20 plus years into your professional career. It just took, some organizational changes to get you to be curious again.
Let me be clear. I've been curious. I just need everyone else to get.
Okay. So you know what? I stopped listening after you said be curious.
You started thinking about what you were going to say next. Yeah, that's a really great way to be.
I was actually thinking about the fact that so much of what we do in our roles is redefining push versus pull, whether it's on this podcast,
Challenge
whether it's in our
accepted.
jobs.
Welcome to this episode of the
but
Snarketing Podcast.
I also sometimes don't
I'm Alan
want
Telehentes,
to
your AI-powered
rely
announcer,
too much on what other people have to say,
and I'm
because then you're just
artificially
gonna
pleased
be
to welcome today's
recycling
guest.
old ideas.
Francis
So that's
Pierrel
not to
is
say
the
inputs aren't
CEO
important.
and president
All
of
inputs
LR
are
Paris, a
important, but you have to
premium and
weigh
prestigious
them
branding agency
and
working with
evaluate
many
them
of the world's
in
leading
different ways.
brands.
So,
A
but I have
French
an idea.
expat living
Let's
in the
channel
U.S. for
this
decades,
curiosity.
he blends
Let's
cultures like no one
think
else,
about
and that's
the
why
guest
his
that we are
partners
about
and
to
clients
meet for
love
the
him.
first time ever.
You will too.
We know enough
Let's
about
say
him
hello
to bring
to
him on
Francis.
and know that his story is interesting.
Back to
but,
you,
we need to
Val
probe
and
it.
Matt.
Very
So
interesting.
let's be curious. Can we do that?
I think we can.
All right. This is a test. And if we fail, then we'll just go back to being the same annoying assholes that we usually are. Deal?
Deal. Done.
All right. Let's cue it up. So this is a podcast, yet we use video. So as Francis, you are someone who has been in and around fashion and retail forever. It's nice for you to let your hair down a little bit with us. I can't do that, unfortunately, but we are absolutely looking forward to getting to know you. Neither of us has ever met you, so this is going to be an adventure. Sometimes we have friends on, sometimes we have acquaintances on, but this is like pure first date. Do you remember the last time you were on a first date, Francis? That's probably a different question for a different podcast. So let's start. I don't know. We could start at the beginning. You've had this really incredible journey in leadership roles at places from Lacoste to Ralph Lauren. I'm wearing a Ralph Lauren shirt right now. I am like the brand ambassador extraordinaire and have been for many years. And now you've moved into a different type of leadership role. I am curious, what drew you first into the world of retail and luxury and fashion and branding?
Well, first, hi.
Oh, hello. Yes, welcome.
And thank you for the comment on my hair. Look, you don't decide to go into luxury unless you are really passionate about it. My passion was food, and then certainly food retailing. And then I wanted to. My dream was to work for Marks and Spencers. I was living in Scotland at the time. I was working for Michelin Tire Factory. Was playing rugby, and then I did my MBA there. And then at the business school, there was a fantastic guy that inspired me about food retailing. And then I was more interested by food, and then I fell in love with retailing. So I didn't go into luxury. I went into retailing first, and then the food world didn't want me. So I went into the garment world, and I started to sell the suit, ties, and shirts in a local French company. The funny thing is, like, I met the owner, and then the owner was not really passionate about running stores. And he said, "You have an MBA, so you know how to run stores?" I said, "Yes, of course." And that's how I started to.
Is that what MBA programs were like back then? Yeah, well, they basically teach you how to run a store?
No, they give you enough confidence to say yes to things that you don't always know.
Okay, right. It's a degree in confidence. You are obviously French, I think, based on the accent. I don't ever want to assume. But
I'm American.
You're an American? Okay. But you grew up in
France, yes.
Yes. So look, as an American, as a New Yorker, I think of France as the capital of all things luxury and fashion and beauty and everything. Was that something that was interesting to you when you were growing up?
No.
Okay.
No. I was all into sports. I was playing rugby. I was doing judo on one side, and I was playing rugby. Played in pretty good teams, and then no, all I wanted to do is to become a sportsman, and then play as long as I could. No, so fashion was not my. I was wearing like 501 Converse shoes, and then Fruit of the Loom t-shirts. That was my outfit.
That's still a look.
Yeah, that's a look. My hair was pretty long though.
So tell us a little bit about what your role is today and what LR Paris is.
I've joined LR Paris a little bit more than a year ago. It was like it was meeting a guy. You spoke about first date. Yeah, well, it was something like this. We've met. He's a third generation owner of this company that was started in France in 1959, and then he grew up to a point where he said, "Look, I need somebody to come with me, and then we can continue the growth journey." He's extremely good with product and certainly the best salesperson I've seen. And then he knows that the back end needs to be structured, and then the brand that he created needs to have pillars and then a vision, to go forward. So he was like, okay, maybe if we come together, the 1 + 1 makes 3. So I take care of like trying to define, what the future of this company can be outside of what has been already, brand exercise, but also structure the processes that are very oral, and put them on paper so you can onboard more people and build that foundation as opposed to starting again every every project.
So where did you along the way pick up what some of those frameworks, or as you call pillars, or I think of it as like a mission and objectives and strategies? Was that were there pieces that you pulled from all of those previous experiences, whether at Club Monaco or Diesel, wherever you were, or was this almost starting new, putting these pieces in place?
No. It's academic and it's experience, based into everything that I've done before. You're not born with these words. You learn them, but really you master them by doing. It's the difference between what I've done in the past and what I'm doing now is like I work with very large companies, where actually you borrow these processes and these words by learning from other people that are already there. Here they don't exist, so it's a small company, so you have to pace yourself, and then and you have to fly, 5,000 and sometimes 30 and 5,000, back and forth all the time. And you have to teach these concepts and these processes, as opposed to enforcing them, maybe in a larger company, because people are already aware and understand them.
So I'm going to use a marketing buzzword, digital transformation. How do you feel as though, from a branding perspective, because that's obviously part of your role is transforming that, and then from a processes standpoint, as the company stands today, and like looking at it and evaluating what kind of changes need to be made, does digital transformation have an impact on both or either of those for you at this point?
Am I using digital to help transforming the company? Yeah, I mean, I can give you two examples on the process and then on the brand, right? So the first thing that and I really really don't like this process, but I've established we are onboarding an ERP, and like if you've done that previously in your life, you should never wish to do that again. I've done SAP many times, and then but SAP is not obviously suitable for a smaller company, so we're going with Oracle NetSuite. But it's it's the mothership of everything you do. So now you can actually structure your thinking, and you stop having many softwares that are not meant to talk to each other. So that's maybe one digital approach.
Sure.
Which is more back of house, right? Like that ERP helps you run more efficiently, operationally sound, right? But that's not as sexy as maybe some of the other things that you might rather be doing.
If you want to know what is your bestseller, that's that. Which client is the most profitable one? Which client keeps asking you to do work, and then never give you orders. It's very complex. These are very simple questions that need to have a real structure, back office, as you said. But at the same time, if you want to become a brand, you need to use digital nowadays, to bring your thoughts, and then your point of difference to the world, So digital, and then this interview is maybe one of them.
It's so many of the guests we've had, people we know in this industry, so many of them start at agencies or spend a lot of their time learning at agencies and then move to the brand side. Whereas your transition now over the last few years is almost in the opposite direction, which for me, again, like I love and is curious and is different and it's unique. Can you tell us a little bit about like the company itself? It's a corporate branding product agency. Is that how you would define it? Or I'm trying to remember what it said on the website.
Yeah, that's that's the way it says it, but it's a new way to call ourselves like this. It's this industry is made of maybe 25,000 vendors, that sells products with a logo, on it, for big and small companies. But when I joined our company, LR Paris, I was just like, we are not a vendor, we are not the manufacturer either. We actually don't like taking a product and just slapping somebody's logo on it.
Yeah.
We like to go deep into like, who is this client in front of us? We like to become part of their brand and think like them, and then invent the right product to reach their marketing or their end consumer. So I was just like, this is not the behavior of a vendor or manufacturer or supplier. This is the approach of an agency. I've never worked with an agency for an agency, but I work with a lot of agencies, and that's what a good agency does. You become an extension of your clients. That's what we've been doing, and that's why we do so fantastic and unique products, because if they had us in their company, they would have done the product that we are doing for them. Okay. And this industry is more like, I have a pen, your logo is going to look good on this, buy the pen. Okay. What you're going to do with this pen, I don't even care, as long as you buy the pen. Us is, we are obsessed by what you're going to do with this pen, or whoever is going to receive the pen, what they're going to do with it. The most important thing is they don't take it and put it in the trash. That's first. Okay. But at the second, if they can keep it on their desk, or they can put it on their coffee table, or they can take it with them wherever they're going, mission accomplished. Because now the brand of my client is going with them everywhere with that object. Okay. So that's for me, that's an agency approach. It's not a vendor approach.
Do you have any examples from either when you started here or that you're currently in the mix of, in terms of being that taking that consultative approach and creating something bespoke that really was sort of out of the box, or something unique that really worked out well as far as products you created?
Yeah, I have a lot, but I need to pick one I can actually share with you, because again, as an agency, and then we are creating products, with our client brand on it, so we don't necessarily say that we've done it. They have to take the credit.
Interesting.
But maybe without telling you, think about a very famous luxury brand. Okay. I'm not going to give you more clues than this, because you're going to get it otherwise. But anyway, they are more on the jewelry space. Okay. So their job is not to, and GWP or give, like our clients, they need something to the top of the, and then we were just like, what if you had something, that your client could put on their coffee table? Okay. Because your job is not to be on their coffee table. Your job is to be on them, or maybe in the safe. Never on that coffee table. So we are very passionate about games, and then we've done many backgammons. Backgammon is a great, it's a great game. I love playing it, but it's not that popular. Okay, but it gives you a lot of options, in terms of design and in terms of playing with the colors. Beautiful. And it is a box by itself, and then the top is kind of empty. You're not going to write backgammon, but then you can put the logo of your brand, and it becomes a beautiful object. And that's what we've done with this brand. And then obviously they wanted it very cute and nice, so we made a small
petite version.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks good it looks almost like a cigar box,
Yeah, I can picture it without knowing what it is. Yeah, that sounds
colors of that brand, and it becomes a beautiful object that you have to keep. It happens to be a game as well.
Well, what I love about this is not like your typical corporate swag that you get. And swag may be a dirty word in your industry, so I don't want to use it pejoratively, or maybe it's not. But I can't tell you how many times I go to conferences, whether it was just South by Southwest or Shop Talk or Cannes Lions or whatever it is, and I have to be so selective in what I bring home, because my suitcase only has room for two things. What are the two things that are going to leave their mark? Because the rest stays in my hotel room, right? So are you thinking about that audience in those types of environments, or has that even really changed? Like, what has changed? Has the demand shifted in recent years as people have become more waste conscious or eco-conscious? Or is it still just a matter of finding the right product for the right audience in a way that tells a brand story?
I worked at Ralph Lauren, for many years, and Ralph always says, I've been the first one being sustainable, because I make good quality product that are timeless in their design, so people keep them forever. Okay, so it's not even about how the product is made and what it's made of. It's just like, it's a product that we want to keep. Okay, and if you keep it and it lasts the time, well, that's already sustainable. I think what is changing is everything. Our clients, they don't want their product to be trashed. Okay, because it's not a good marketing investment, and there is no return on that investment.
By the
But
way, so my advice is don't give me another travel charger. All right.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
can do that, I'm good.
yeah. And by the way, Apple is getting so much better now. The phones, they last the whole day.
I need
So
one. Yeah, as I said, one day, one plug. That's all I need to bring with me. I'm good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you need another hat? Do you need like unless you make it spatial, please don't give it to me. And that's the other side. It's the receiver is not hungry to get as many as possible. They want to be very selective, And if you can strike my mind and make it very spatial, then I'm going to keep it with me. I'm going to take it with me. So
Yes.
these
If you
two things,
if you right, if you want to give me a Harry Winston travel charger, that's a different story. But
yeah.
still
So
about the brand, right? Yeah.
Oh, still about the brand,
Yeah.
but it's also about the idea. Like it's just like, oh, I didn't think of this, and it's not just about how much money you're putting in it. It's how much brain effort and how much you can actually relate the object with the brand and then the recipient. So again, very much of an agency. You could be an ad. The object is carrying your brand, and it's not the object that you're buying; it's the object that you don't pay for it. So it needs to have a different value. Otherwise, it belongs to the trash.
I mean, Valerie, it's almost like Out of Home in a way, except it goes with you.
it
Mhm.
is. It is. So your career has spanned across multiple continents, Europe, North America. Like, how do you brands change in different markets? Like, how do you adapt to the differences in brands and their approaches from like sort of the cultural differences?
This is we need to write a book on this. But
I know.
look, I have the chance to be from two continents already. So I was born with the understanding that we are not all the same. In terms of body structure, in terms of thinking, in terms of values, in terms of interests. So it's deep inside me. Um, I think you need to be curious. You need to be
Hmm.
observant, okay, and you need to be very open-minded to say, oh, yeah, some people are not gonna like the same things that I like, or they're not gonna think the same way. But at the end of the day, our brands or the brands that we represent, they still need to strike these kind of people because these are those that are going to consume their end products. So we work a lot with banks, for example, and then
Hmm.
they like to work with us because we have American brands. So most of their revenue comes from the US, but they expand in Europe, and then all of a sudden they go like, oh yeah, but these European people, they don't want to get what we produce over here. Yeah, yeah, of course, and I know that, and I can tell you why. And yes, a size large T-shirt, is a medium over there. So just start there.
Well, is it that perception? I mean, now look, digital, we were talking about this. Digital has broken down so many barriers, whether I'm on social media or I am traveling now, like the ability for cultures to come together and coalesce. Like I don't think it's as distinct and siloed as people think it is, but do we as consumers still think the grass is greener on the other side? Like, oh, it's French, it must be something elegant, or oh, it's American. It's like do you see those perceptions still
Yeah.
exist, or have they broken down more so?
No, no, no. The stereotypes are still there, and don't abuse them. You but use them to your advantage.
Hmm.
My little accent, for example, it's useful sometimes.
Hmm.
Not to do business in France, but anywhere else you can use it. Having Paris in our name is by chance. It's not by design because it was created a long time ago. It's really helpful, but like every quality, it comes with its disadvantage. So we could sound a bit more expensive, which we are not, but yeah, oh, it's going to be French, it's going to be more expensive. Okay. uh, we set some expectations, when we craft something, the quality should be higher because it should be a French made, it's not French made what we're doing, but it comes with this kind of expectations, so you have to, maybe it's easier to get the first audience, or to seduce your audience. But at the end, it comes with expectations, and then
Sure.
some, and there's some stereotype. Yeah, something French is going to be more expensive. Yeah, just the accent is French. We are an American brand.
So, like, pivoting a little bit to you personally and just all of your different experiences leading global brands, what is sort of like your biggest leadership lesson that you've learned that sort of helped you throughout all of these different career pivots?
Oh, look, before being a corporate leader, I was a rugby player. Okay, and what's beautiful about rugby, best game ever invented. You have small guys and big guys, and then those that run very fast and those who are born
By
slower.
the way, we may have to take away your American citizenship just for saying that, but I'm not going to be the one to make that decision.
You have to go to a game with me, and you can follow.
All right, fair. That's fair.
But
Okay.
there is a place for every size of people, and game invented by English people. Okay, so it had to be a little bit tricky. You have to score forward, but you can only pass the ball backwards. So think about that. Okay, but so think about how to win a game. It's like, so winning a game of rugby. It's like leading a company or a better group of people, and I think maybe the biggest lesson is like you should always be in front of your people. Okay, so you can actually pull them towards a vision or towards a goal, but make sure the distance is always respectable, and sometimes you stretch the elastic and sometimes you come back, to make sure that you, in other words, is like, over communicate, be extremely clear, repeat a lot. That would be the, but also, like another thing in rugby, when one is down, like the other is catching the ball, and then because that one day you're going to be down and somebody else is going to catch the ball for you. So this whole teamwork for me is the only thing that matters, even in corporate America. It's all about the people at the end.
I know, and I feel like you had mentioned earlier this, partnership with the founder or the owner of the company you're at now. Like it sounds like you created a bond, and that's what drove you to. I think that
Yeah.
becomes way more important as you become more mature in your career, right? Like just the people matter most.
And like I'm going to tell you one thing is I always assume that people were great. I work for a fantastic company, like at Lacoste, at Diesel,
Mhm.
at Ralph Lauren, and the ownership was always fantastic. I always had the chance to work directly with them. The leadership was always like absolutely amazing. Always took it for granted. My last corporate experience, the complete opposite. Extremely disappointed. It took a long time in my life, to get there, and I was just like, bloody hell! I assumed that all my life, and it's not. People can be nasty, and people can be uh, 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 coming with bad intention. And when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about leadership, and I was extremely disappointed, and I rethought a lot of things, in my approach, and I hope I've never been that person, or if I have, I apologize, and I hope it was never long. But don't take for granted when you have a great manager, when you have a great ownership, when you work for a great company. Don't jump for a few more dollars, because that is very, very precious, because we spend so much time at work.
So
I
true.
always had fun. I always learned. I always delivered like fantastic things, but always with the people.
I think that has become one of the most underappreciated and maybe even waning characteristics. I mean, in business, certainly in marketing, you see the lifespan of a C suite at a company. It's
Yeah.
either 25 years or it's 2 years. And
Hmm.
there are probably reasons for it. And I think you've hit on many of them. I don't know that there is ever one owner of culture creation at a company, but it definitely has to be
Trickle down.
top. It has to be top down. Can it be middle out or bottom up? Sometimes it depends on the industry. Are there um, people that you work with who maybe, I don't want to say lower down the ladder, but are there lessons that you're learning from, or can you share some of those lessons that you learn that may be middle out or bottom up that you as a leader want to highlight or showcase?
Yeah, I can. I mean, like top down. Let's start there. The first time, I've met Ralph, Mr. Lauren. We there was like a 20 minutes in his office. It's very impressive.
Does
I'm
he
twice.
go by Ralph? By the way, or do you have to call him?
It depends. When you refer to him, people tend to say Mr. Lauren.
Yeah.
But when you know him, and then obviously or between people that have the chance to work directly with him, you speak, you say Ralph. But so the lesson there is like, it was like, okay, let's go downstairs. So where are we going downstairs? Okay, let's go downstairs. So we take the elevator, and there is, I don't know, maybe an intern, somebody that looks very young, and then whatever we were talking about, and then Ralph goes like, what do you think? And he asked the question that we were trying to solve, the two of us, to that person, and that person answers directly. It's just the time of an elevator ride, and then and he considered that, he gave all that energy, and I'm sure this person like still think or speak about it, because I'm speaking about it. But he was not trying to be nice. He was genuinely interested in what this person was saying, thinking that everybody has a piece of the truth, so that's, and for me, it's amazing. But maybe bottom up, like I always thought that, I work in retail, in fashion, and you do a lot of statistics and data analysis, and then, like you have very great brains that tell you what exactly happened in the mind of a client. Okay. But I always thought about, go to the stores, go on the floor, talk to your salespeople. They are going to tell you, now, if you mix the two things, you're going to become close to the truth. Okay, one is not going with the other, without the other. But in the world of digital, we spoke about digital earlier. We tend to think that I can have all the data in the world, so I'm going to take the decisions from that. But again, it goes back to the human. The human that talks to the human will give you some clues that will complete the picture.
So true.
Well, I love that you actually, experienced that with him. I've worked with a number of retailers over the years and executives, and some of them actually have requirements that the executives or the corporate office have to be on the floor, right? Like at Lowe's, you always see like the CMO is in their red vest, and they have to, like, once a quarter, they have to work in the lumber department of one of the Lowe's. And I find that sometimes, like, as an outsider, I'm like, is this real? But whether it's real or not, the value that the real experiences create, I don't think can be understated. I'm curious if you've ever worked the register of one of the stores or one of the establishments. No? Yes?
Of course. But
yeah. Okay.
It's honestly, it sounds like marketing, from your end, but retailers, at least the good ones, they love being on the shop floor. Like they love being there, talking to the clients, moving, remerchandising, feeling, smelling the floor. By the way, registers, year 2000, we thought everything would collapse, digital world. So I spent my New Year, I was working for Esprit at the time. I spent my New Year in a store, just to experience the crash, if it was still to happen. Nothing really happened, but I was there, so I've practiced the register even on that.
I don't even know if they have register. Like, no one pays in cash anymore. You don't need a register. You need like a credit card swipe. That's all it is now. I get it.
Well, it depends. There are some regions there are some regions in America where people pay a lot in cash because they need to move a lot of cash. Just think about it.
Oh, we'll stop there. I get it.
Too much cash, So you'd be surprised. There are some parts in some places.
I should take my New York hat off when thinking more about the other cultures. So thank you for that.
New York is cashless, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So looking ahead to the future of branded merchandising, like what do you think are some of the key trends that you're aligning against for this? Like, where are you thinking you're taking the company moving forward?
The brands that we are lucky to work with, they are big brands, leaders in their industries. They want less and less to be associated with another brand. Okay, so when they want to do like a sports T-shirt, they used to take the national or the leading brand, and then they put their logo next to it. But they realize that actually they give at least as much advertising to the brand that created the product than their brand on it. Okay, so they want more like unique products, things that their competitors will not have, and things that you can't buy off the shelf. So the creativity in the design of the product, the uniqueness of that solution, to what they're trying to achieve. Think about the banks. Okay, the banks, they have very wealthy clients. Okay, and they want to impress them, but they are regulated. And the maximum they can give to every of their client is $100 gift, a year. So now, how do you impress somebody with a gift, that can actually buy anything they want in the world? Okay, and these are the challenges that we absolutely love. Absolutely love. So
That's creative, right? I mean, that is the definition. It's turning a cardboard box into a new something, whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then this person will have, oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that. And then you're making a lasting impression. Like, yes, I am in the right bank. I mean, of course, they need to do their job as well. And make
well, I mean, that must require some degree of personalization and data, or some AI tool that I haven't thought of yet. But are you guys thinking about that type of innovation with LR Perry? Like, are there any exciting innovations, new categories, unexpected trends or partnerships that we should be on the lookout that you guys are exploring?
Can I tell you, or can I not tell you?
We could keep a secret and just never air this episode. How about that?
We could edit this.
Okay,
if someone tells
I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but think about it. Okay, so we are in the object world. Okay, but Charles, my partner, he's very connected with the French community, and the chefs, the French chef community, and all the big chefs, Jean-Georges and Daniel Bouloud, and
I don't know them, but I know who they are. Yes,
you know them, but you should eat more often there.
Yes.
But they all have their lines of prepared food. Okay, and it's absolutely fantastic and delicious. We are working on a project, of creating, promotional baskets, assorting their solutions. It's somehow, it's not we're not creating anything new, but we're bringing something that already exists into the B2B world that's not readily available. And obviously the chefs are very protective of where their product go.
Sure.
But I think we can actually bring it to the right audience. So that would be a very interesting, and then nobody does that.
I love that idea.
Well, I'm open. If you want to try, by the way, and do any pre-testing samples,
okay.
And send me a lunch of costs, right? Whatever it may be, I will try it out and give you my honest feedback. So I'll send you my address after this. Perfect. Okay.
And so before we go to the lightning round, I think one thing that you hope from this industry that disappears entirely is one thing that you just think gives your industry a bad rap.
Nothing.
Bad creative.
Honestly, I don't care about what's bad. I tend to focus about what's good. So I just want more of the good stuff. The bad is going to disappear anyway. Even what I started is that this word, the swag world. What's an ugly word? I honestly, I've never really used it. But if some people want to use it, why not? I think if it's bad, it's going to disappear. And then but I'm focusing on the good stuff. So I want more of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Not less of the.
That is the New Yorker that we've infused into you now, right? Over these last decades. We've turned you into a positive force for forward-thinking progress and optimism. So I love that. I also love how open and transparent and just brilliant you've been with us today. So we are going to now blitz you with quick questions. That's how the lightning round works, and it's meant to be more instinctual than thoughtful. Okay. So I am curious now, with your hat on in the branded product world, what is the favorite item that you've taken home from a conference or an event that you still have today? Is there something?
He's looking at his desk.
A water bottle that holds my phone at the same time.
A water bottle that holds your phone?
I've never seen such a thing.
Me neither. I have to go to that conference soon. That one I bring home with me.
Well, it's so simple, but it's I love it.
That's
Works.
brilliant.
Right. But it works only when there is water in it. When there is the water, it falls. But it's okay. It can be improved.
Okay. You've worked with incredible builders, leaders, entrepreneurs, visionaries, is there a piece of advice that you still think of and you point to when people ask you that question? Like, that's the nugget of wisdom that I still embody to this day.
Renzo Rosso, the owner of Diesel, founder and owner of Diesel, was always like, okay, what is everybody thinking? And then you tell him, and he said, let's go the opposite way. And it was like his genius is to never try to do what the others were doing. And he actually wrote a little book. It's called "Be Stupid." And he said when somebody tells him, he shares an idea, and when somebody says like it's stupid, it's like, okay, I'm on something good. I'm on something good. This is my radar for. Like, I keep going.
As someone who's worked with, the list of brands with whom you've either worked for, with, collaborated, is there one that you haven't yet partnered with or worked with in any way that you would love to figure out how to make happen? And then
I told you I was wearing Levi's 501 when I was a kid, and this is my dream brand forever, for many reasons. It's a childhood. A very good friend of mine, she's the head of Levi's in Europe. So Lucia Marcuzzo, if you listen to me, we still have to do something together. But yeah, Levi's is always been, it's a dream brand. It's everything, like it's Americana, it's longevity. They've invented my favorite pair of jeans. I grew up in a pair of Levi's, and then anyway.
Yeah, it's iconic. It's functional. It can be dressed up. It can be dressed down. It's kind of like a blank creative canvas, but with a brilliant brand behind it. You're also a man of many cultures, international man of mystery. What's your favorite place to either travel to, or a city where you've done business that it feels like a second home?
Business, Tokyo. Tokyo.
Mm.
My dog is called Tokyo. I can hear him barking. His name is Tokyo because I absolutely adore this place. I've never been there as a tourist or with my family, so I don't know what it is to be a tourist in Japan in general. But Tokyo is my favorite business town. My favorite town just by itself. I hesitated between Mexico City and Buenos Aires, but I would take Buenos Aires. I love the idea that every language have some very, very specific words that don't exist in another language, and that helps you see the world very differently. In French, we have so many words for blue. Here the sky is blue. Like in France, it has a lot of nuances. There are some specific words, or the same word that says, like the word there, for example, it would be green. You imagine like the word green means a worm, a little animal, a glass, a color. It's like we have one word and it says so many different things depending on the context. It's just mind blowing.
Well, but that also speaks to how your mind works as someone who is not only connected to consumers and culture, but that creativity in the way that you play with language and the way you think of different meanings, right? When you say the word green, I think of environment. I think of money. And sometimes those things could not be more opposite, right? In addition to just being a color, right? Because they become associated with things like the planet and the ink of the US dollar. So, so the last question I have is someone, again, your career journey continues to move in really, really amalgamistic ways. What would you be doing if you were not leading this company now? Would you still be in fashion and retail? Would you be a rugby coach teaching kids in the US how to love a new sport? Like, what's your dream job?
This is the first thing that came to my mind. Like I would love to be a coach of anything, obviously rugby. My daughter she's only 11. I was the basketball coach, for the girls team, one of the girls team. That I absolutely love it. What else would I do? I don't know. Just now, I'm having so much fun. If you asked me before, like, I would have never said I would work for an agency that does branded product. I would have, so I tend to, I never look for a job in my life. I knock on wood, and I've been very, very lucky. I don't know. Just now, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm meeting great people.
That's great.
So.
Well,
I don't know what else I would do. If I were doing something, yeah, I would be coaching. I would be having a coffee in Buenos Aires. That I'm missing big
well,
time.
maybe that's your retirement job, as you go open a coffee shop in somewhere in South America. That sounds
It's
like
in the book. It's in the
I'll
book.
meet you there.
I have with my wife. We were already done the brand book, and we have a name and we have everything. So I'm ready
Amazing.
for a coffee shop.
Yep.
All right. Well, there it is. So that wasn't a hard answer. You did it. All right. Well, Francis, thank you so much for joining us. This was a great conversation. I enjoyed getting to know you, and I will.
Me too.
You're the second person, and actually the second French CEO that I've known who has been so passionate about rugby that it kind of gets me curious. But I don't know if there's room in my life for another sport. But I think what you have shown is that there is always room for things that you can be passionate about.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing your passions and your wisdom and your expertise with us. And
Yes, thank you.
I can't wait to try out your French chef gift basket. So please keep it in mind.
You'll get the tester. Absolutely.
And there you have it. A culturally connected and conscious CEO leading the way forward for his company and an entire industry. Francis, it was a gift just to have you on the show. Thanks to you and to our noble co-hosts, but most importantly, thanks to you, our listeners. Until next time.